Boxing Bros UK. Watch it.
Thanks, sir.
Hello everybody, this is Boxing Bros UK here. I am the boss Chris. It's my co-host Andrew the Boxing Brain. Topic of the day is Moses Itauma rejected the final eliminator ordered by the IBF for him to face Frank Sanchez to become the mandatory challenger for Alexander Usyk's IBF belt. I've always liked the IBF, but they're fucking confusing me. Everything's a final eliminator. Eliminator for the IBF. Derek Chisora versus Wallin was an eliminator for the IBF, or Joe Joyce. And then now you've ordered Moses Itauma and Frank Sanchez, and you're saying that's a final eliminator. Make your fucking mind up.
That's almost a whole other debate. That is what's going on with the sanctioning bodies.
Well, we'll talk about the takeover with Dana White and everything with our Ring magazine author. That we
Matthew Pomora. Yeah, stay tuned for that one.
For sure. The statement comes from TalkSport, from the IBF. Here we go. Moses Itauma rejects eliminator bout with menacing contender for a shot at Alexander Usyk. Moses Itauma has turned down the IBF final eliminator bout with Frank Sanchez that would have made him mandatory challenger for Alexander Usyk. Itauma was offered the opportunity after FA Ajagba passed. So FA Ajagba pulled out of this fight and said, I don't want to fight it because of the money was shit. He said, I don't want it. So they offered it to Moses. So maybe Moses turned it down because the money's shit. As a result, the IBF have moved down its rankings to call upon the next highest ranked fighter, which is Itauma. And a statement released by the IBF last week read, "We are waiting to hear back on the availability for Moses Itauma. If he confirms he is available, then he and Frank Sanchez would be ordered to negotiate and they would have 15 days to do so."
Yeah.
However, Moses Itauma, who is also ranked number one in the WBA and the WBO, has opted to take a different route to a world title. The IBF have since contacted Olympic silver medalist Richard Torres Jr. to take up the challenge and fight Frank Sanchez. Ooh, good for boxing, I say that is.
Richard Torres Jr., he needs a bit of a profile fight. And I know Frank Sanchez's team, it might have been in that article that you read out there, said that, we're not surprised Moses he's probably going to turn it down because he's a bit green going in there against someone like that. They're going to frame it like that. I think it would have been a decent fight, actually.
My first question to you, why did he pull out the fight? Why do you think, before you answer, people are saying that he's ducked Frank Sanchez? You could say that, but I wouldn't say. It's for shit money. The only way that you can say he ducks Frank Sanchez if his next opponent is, terrible. And not even on Frank Sanchez level, who has looked terrible in his last two fights. If you fight someone who's shit, then you can say he ducked him and that he's being protected and managed in the right way for his career, blah, blah, blah. But if you fight someone better, don't even say that he ducked him. Give him fucking some respect. That's my view. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think, look, he's number one with the WBA. I know the WBA is going to have opportunities across the sanctioning bodies. There's going to be opportunities there. For him. I don't necessarily think he's ducked him. We've saw with Sanchez, he's had good wins. Obviously, he beat FA Ajagba that quite some time ago now. He'd done a bit of a job on Ajagba. Lost to Kabiel, didn't he? Got beat up by Kabiel to the body, I think it was, if I remember rightly. No shame in that. We know how good Kabiel is, but Frank Sanchez,
It's a good name, and he's looked terrible in his last fights, and I think it would have been a good scalp, and it would have given him experience against someone who can box. Because he can
box and move. Counter-puncher.
And he'll man him. This is someone, he's not like a Dylan White, who's not an excellent boxer, counter-puncher. He needed this, because someone like Frank Sanchez, who, if he figures out the puzzle, he will touch his chin and knock him out, but he's going to give him rounds. This would have been a fight. But I think they're putting the hold in the horses because they don't want him to win this fight easily and then be mandatory for Alexander Usyk and then have all that pressure where everyone's going to be going, because of how good he is, fight him now, because I can see clearly that they want to move him on normally. You can't beat Tyson's record. So they're just going to move him normal, have 3 or 2 fights and then go for it.
It might be a reflection of the heavyweight division right now, although I do think it's better than what maybe some people suggest it is. But where he's progressed so quickly because of his show, I think he's just been all right, you could pick apart Dillian Whyte, Marius Wack and Dempsey McKee. But Marius Wack was definitely, he was past it by the time Moses was fighting him, but he'd given lots of very good fighters rounds, durable, big heavyweight. Dempsey McKean at the time was, I think, top 20, top 25.
Walker took him
took Hrgovic. I think he got stopped in the late in the 12th round, round against Hrgovic. Dispatched of him in absolutely conclusive, concussive fashion. Done an absolute whitewashed, no pun intended, whitewashed Dillian Whyte. And he's almost, and he's been fast-tracked up there in the rankings. He's almost got nowhere to go because he's right up there. So you're looking at the big names now. And I think Sanchez would have been an interesting one because of that Cuban style as well. And I'm not a massive fan of the Cuban style. It's a bit cagey, the old Cuban style, a bit of a cagey style.
The last question. Nothing's set in stone. Rumour mill. Who's next out of these names, okay? These are all rumours that either Frank Warren, David Adeleye, reliable, credible sources. If we're all boxing fans, we've all seen the interviews. I'm not going to go into all the details. Credible sources have said this is going to be his next fight potentially. And if it's not one of these, it is a duck on Frank Sanchez, but he's for the best of his career, whatever, but it's a duck for me because these are all credible opponents. First one, Derek Chisora. Yeah, I thought he was the IBF mandatory, but I don't know what the fuck's going on with them. Second one, Michael Hunter. So this one is interesting. The next one, FA Ajagba. Maybe they pulled a fast one, a funny one, because they both got offered the fight, both rejected it because the money was shit. Maybe they're going to fight each other. And the last one, David Adeleye. First question, who do you think it will be out of them fights? And who do you want it to be? So tell me who you think it will be. You know boxing politics, how it'll work. And then tell me who you want it to be after. Yeah,
interesting. So out of those, because I would have chucked Pulev in the mix as well, but I've got a feeling Pulev won't.
Pulev will never fight Moses.
No, but that makes sense I know they were chasing that one. That makes sense to me a lot because he's a name. He's got a regular bet. There's a lot politically. So I just wanted to chuck that out there, but Pulev will never, not at his age now, will never take it. He'll never take that. So who I think it will be out of those, if the right money's on the table, is probably always it's a Michael Hunter, FA Ajagba, Chisora, and Adeleye. I think it's likely to be. I think maybe David Adeleye. It could be.
Fucking hell, that's what I was going to say.
Because I think Chisora, again, I know he's gone on record as saying he wouldn't take that. But I know he was digging out Dillian Whyte for taking the fight for a start. Michael Hunter is an interesting one. FA Ajagba, I don't know. I could see that happening. But David Adeleye, they can promote it well, domestic. It's a bit of a risk because we know David Adeleye can punch. It just makes sense across the board, that David Adeleye fight. I think the money will be decent for Adeleye. He'll want to take. He's not at a stage in his career where he's earning massive money. Hrgovic was his biggest step up by far. Really dangerous for David Adeleye, but I think he'll back himself and have a go in there. Who I want it to be would be Michael Hunter, because. And check out the interview with him. I had a good interview with him.
I'm going to put Andrew interview Michael Hunter.
Yeah, at the Usyk Dubois presser. Because I'm a big fan of his, as you know. When I saw him there, that I really wanted to interview him, and Chris really wanted to interview Ajagba, and they were both there. We jumped on them. And the reason, like you said, is true. We haven't really seen Michael Hunter in a really challenging fight since probably Bacoli. We're going back now. I'm trying to think after that who he's fought. He's fought some guys in South America. That was part of my questions to him, like, where have you been and all the rest of it. But check it out. He'll answer a bit of that in the interview. But how much has he got left? What's still in the tank? Because Michael Hunter is a tricky fighter, fast heavyweight, a pretty small heavyweight, but fast. Decent hand speed, good ring IQ. How much of that is all left? We don't know. If there is a fair bit left, he's the one most likely to give Moses the rounds that we want to see him in and that what Ben Davison wants. So Mike Hunter's the one I want for those reasons. What I think will happen is David Adeleye, because promotionally it makes the most sense.
Yeah, for me, slightly different. David Adeleye, I completely agree. I think that's the one that's going to happen. I don't think it's good for his career, but I think Now he's had a taste of that big money, and they're going to say, right, we're going to offer you the same as what you got for your last fight or more to fight Moses. They can sell it as they're both
$1 million, do you think, Chris? Do you reckon in at 500 grand to $1 million, around that mark, do you think?
Around that. Whatever he got paid for Hrgovic, he'll get that or a little bit more. And I just think that they can sell it as, obviously, David Adeleye gave a good account of himself, nearly knocked Hrgovic out. They're both young British talents trying to get to world level. Moses is going to be the favourite. And then let's say he knocks Adeleye out in 2-3 rounds. Then they can sell that as, this guy took Hrgovic 10 rounds and Hrgovic turned down the fight with Moses. So Moses is the best in the world bar Usyk if he beats Adeleye. It's because Hrgovic didn't want to fight him and he's just destroyed Hrgovic's last opponent quicker than he did. That's the narrative that they'll run and how they'll go with it. And how they're both Queensberry fighters. Easy to make for Frank Warren. Sweet. The fight, I completely agree with Michael Hunter, what you're saying about him. Even if he's never been knocked out cold in his career. So even if he hasn't got much left, he'll still make it a hard fight because he's one of them thinking fighters. It doesn't matter how old he is, he can get in the ring with nothing and get through a fight. You know, he might put a shitter performance in. He will definitely give him rounds. But I want to see Jag. He showed me some different looks in his last fight against Piccoli, that he's improved from his last fight with Frank Sanchez. And I think it'd be good to Moses to fight someone closer to his own age, someone who's trying to do what he's doing, become a world champion, and it'll be like a more 60-40 fight. Moses will probably be the favourite, but he's got someone in there that wants to take his head off. And I know Ajagba, he's got a problem with British Nigerians because he's actually from there. And then you've got people like Moses, Anthony Joshua, Joe Joyce, who are half getting all the love from Nigeria and England. And he feels like Nigeria should only love him because he's actually born there, from there, proper Nigerian. So he's got a little chip on his shoulder about that, especially with AJ. So I think that will be a great fight, and that's the one I want to see.
Like it. I want to come on the back. I can see where you're going with that as well. And that was the other one I was thinking, Ajagba. And I think what's interesting about that one is a totally different fight to the Michael Hunter fight, because Michael Hunter will navigate that fight, will be, I think, to be on the back foot. You know, he'll use a lot of ring craft, use a lot of his IQ, you know, good, great amateur pedigree, been in there with Usyk, you know, he's been in there at high level at cruiserweight, you know, done a really good job against Piccoli. You know, there's a lot of stuff he can bring there that Moses Itauma will have to try and work out, I think.
As well with the Ajagba fight, I think a bit of youth. Someone
he's still only 30, 31, Ajagba. And
I know Moses is like 20.
Yeah, but as a heavyweight,
he's fought.
But he's in his prime as a heavyweight, Ajagba.
Yeah,
and I know he's a bit of stiff, but he's 6'5", big puncher, decent jab. He does have a really, really good straight right hand. Really good.
It's like Wilder's, isn't it? Really quick.
The way he kind of pings it off, and that, you know, because we know, don't they, the straight shots are obviously the quicker point of entry to your opponent. That's why they're such important shots, because obviously hooks, you know, takes a little longer to hit the target, right? So,
wild rather than
Moses, he's got to look out for that coming back. You know, Moses likes to throw a big shot in and take his head off the line, and you know, that straight right hand that he throws could be a bit of a problem for Moses, Chris, couldn't it? Yeah. It's quite a quick straight right, isn't it? You know,
a youthful, strong person, contender in his prime. These are a learning fight for Moses. Either or, if the Michael Hunter fight got made, I think that's a great fight, because I know Michael Hunter will do the dark arts to get through the fight. And
do you think he'd take it, Chris? Do you think Michael would take? Do you think he would?
I think Michael Hunter would. If the money's right, he'll be like Dylan White. He knows he's nearly 40. He's fucked his career up by not taking the Hrgovic final eliminator. So he wants a big fight, and because of his skill set, like he's like a Bernard Hopkins, Andre Ward, spoiling tactics kind of guy, people don't want to fight him. No, you're not going to get great plaudits apart from boxing like experts and aficionados like us. You're not going to get the plaudits for beating him, but it is a good learning fight, and I think the money that they can offer him, he'll take, because it'll be good.
It would actually be a really good fight, and you make a really good point there, Chris. The casuals that are maybe getting on the bandwagon with Moses, like, they'll be like, oh, he's just beaten another old. And look, I say this with respect to Michael, because you know I'm a big fan of his. But that's how they'll look at it. But we know if he dispatches of Mark Hunter, if that gets made, that would be a really, really good win. I know he's been inactive, Mark, but that would be a really good win. But be a shame because it wouldn't get the plaudits it would deserve because Mark Hunter's been a very, very good pro and is a very good pro.
And I think he could make you look bad, definitely. And he'll have to figure out what do you do when someone's not engaging, but they're not a journeyman, that when you touch them, they're going to go over. You know, you make one little mistake while you're trying to figure him out. Out of all them opponents, he's the most dangerous, I believe. But I think the most exciting and like closer fight, just because of Ajagba's youth, I think it'll be Ajagba. But
I really like that, Ajagba. I'd love that. I think that's a great fight. I really do.
Either or. So either that fight, the Ajagba or Hunter fight, either one of them fights, that's what I want.
It'll be Adeleye, though, won't it? It's going to be Adeleye, isn't it? It's going to be, I think.
In boxing, Eddie Hearn said it best. If any manager, promoter tells you who's next, they give you some names. It's always the weakest opponent out of them names that he's going to fight. And no disrespect.
Unless it's Dave Allen.
Yeah, unless it's Dave Allen. He picks the hardest. But obviously, no offence to Dave Adeleye, gave a good account of himself at Hergovich. But if you put him against them names, if we go on undisputed, the boxing game right now, he's the one with the lowest stats. That's not hating or anything. That's just, it is what it is. And he'll get paid handsomely for it.
Moses Itauma's next two fights are going to be fascinating. It's going to be fascinating. I think we're going to get a real indication in the next two fights of what his, we all think we know what his ceiling is, but I think the next two fights will be like...
No, exactly. Tell us who you think he's going to fight. Has anyone got an inside track? They've heard another rumour. It's not going to be any of these names. Like and subscribe, guys. Like and subscribe.
Help, I need somebody. Help, now just